Hello, you. I'm so happy to have you. My name is Dr. Faith. Just in case you don't know me, go to my website, www.faithabraham.com. It just got a whole facelift, honey. And you can find out more about me, the things that I do, and how I can help your life go from where it is to fulfilling your calling, living out the reason why you were even born in the first place. Okay. This particular video is going to basically a review of books. I am a connoisseur of books. I am a nerd. I love books. I buy books while I'm in the middle of reading a book, even though I haven't finished. I feel like if you want to know and understand the world around you, you've got to be able to read. So I feel bad for people who say they don't like to read. Honey, what are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your life? Because you can read a book, and if you're talking about fiction books, you can read a fiction book and go into a completely different world, a completely different country. You can see the world through the eyes of other people, which is powerful because now you get a concept of life from a different person's perspective, and which now enhances your personal perspective, right? So I'm not going to go into that because I feel like if you're watching this video, you are a reader, so we don't need to. If you want to have that conversation, let us have it. Put it in the comments. We can have that conversation, honey, okay? But if you're watching this video, it's because you want to have a review from the book Deep Work by Cal Newport, that the 5 major keys card. So what I'm doing is basically for people who very popular books or books that are out there that I know personally for myself are going to enhance me and my journey and my calling, the things that I've been called to do. I'm just going to put up my personal take on certain books. I recently downloaded the app Audible, and this is not even a sponsored post, let's be clear. I'm just talking about them because I like the app. I think it's genius. It makes so much sense. I think I have more time to listen than I do to just sit down and read, which is unfortunate, but it's true. Okay. So the goal is to, if I listen to the books, I think I can consume and get more than if I just try and sit down, at least right now in the course of my life and the responsibilities that I have on me, right? So if that's you, please check in the description box. I'm gonna put the link in there for Audible. Get it. It's really worth it. I was debating on whether or not it's worth it, but I'm gonna spend the subscription amount on Audible just by picking up like 2 lipsticks when I go to Target, right? So I just put the lipstick down, and basically I'm spending that money anyway. Or if I just decide to make coffee at home instead of going to Starbucks, there it is. So, but it's really worth it. And I've been able to read more books in just these past 3 months. Because at the time of me recording this is March 2019. At the time of me recording this, it's been 3 months, and I've been able to read more books than I've ever been able to read before, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and get into this thing. Deep Work by Cal Newport. I made a 5 major keys card. I want to go through those keys, and then I'll give you a couple of things as well, because when I listen to a book, so this book, I listened to it and finished it on Audible. I write notes. The cool thing about Audible is you can be listening to a book and switch in and out, so you can go and it'll still play, so you're still listening to the book. So in this particular book, I wrote 5 major keys from this book. The first one is deep work is another word for uninterrupted thinking, which is essential to thriving. So he starts off the book talking about the field of psychology with Carl Jung, Freud, and all those guys, and how they were really the geniuses of the past generations. Really had a discipline of taking out time to do uninterrupted thinking, and from that time they were able to make major contributions to the world. So if you're a thought leader, if you're a leader, if in an organization or anything like that, you have to, this is what the book is saying, you have to sit down and take that time to think and just be uninterrupted from the phone and the people and the demands and all of that stuff, so that you can truly reflect, you can truly see what's going on around you. And when you see that, it gives you the opportunity to make changes, to adapt, to flow, to go, to build upon. It's really remarkable. It's really remarkable what he's saying in the book. Okay, then number 2, and actually, let me say this. I agree. I really do agree with this. And I think a lot of people live their life just day to day, like just going. Then time passes when they actually have a chance to sit down and reflect. They're like, dang, where did my life go? And that's terrible, right? Because if you don't take time to look at your life, you don't have the opportunity to see what you can modify, what you can change, and little changes can create big rewards later. So when I started reading the book, and just in the first chapter, I was like, oh, he's talking about something good. Okay. All right. So the second one is being very focused on specific work allows the brain to build and develop for easy learning. And this really goes against what we've been taught, which is the multitasking thing. And I'll get to that because that's actually point 5. But the brain is set up, and he goes into this, and I thought it was really, really great that he talks about how the brain works. And I also have, as a counselor, I also have an understanding of how the brain works, the memory, how it builds itself, and the route that you take most often. You can take that route without thinking because it's etched into you. And if you're going to work and you take route B instead of route A, route B, you really have to pay attention because you don't take that route that much. But route A, you can literally be on the phone yakking away and you're like, yeah, I'm here at work. You didn't really take too much. You didn't think about it. You didn't look at the stop sign. You didn't look at the road lights. Why? Because in your mind, you already know where you're going. So you just go. Whereas with route B, you don't go there a lot, so you have to pay attention to where you are and what you're doing. So when you know that the brain works like that, then you understand that when you're doing something, you're learning a skill or a trade, or you're honing a craft or a gift that you have. The more you're able to work on that specific thing uninterrupted, the stronger it etches itself in your mind. And that's really, really important for those of us who want to begin to master certain things. Okay. Then number 3, this was a good one. Oh, this was good. More effort that will free up your time so that you can really allow yourself to have that uninterrupted thinking. Again, powerful. You have to do it. When I was reading this book, or listening to the book, listening, whatever, I was really amazed at how true it was. The thing that kind of threw the book off for me was the amount of case studies. Like, I'm a nerd, but I'm not that much of a nerd. Like, I don't want to read or go into that many case studies. And he had a lot. And I know it was necessary because he was trying to prove his point. And he was trying to really drive home his point with these with the journals and the studies and all of that stuff. But ultimately, as a writer myself, I'm already convinced to a certain extent of what you're saying by how you open the book. And maybe also too, I have a little bias because I'm familiar with psychology, as a counselor. But I just felt like some of having the stories all throughout the book, it added pages, yes, but it just made it kind of convoluted and took me away from being very convinced of what he was saying, which was you need that uninterrupted thinking to really be a contributor, to really have the best life and live it. So that kind of knocked the book down for me a bit personally. If not for you, let me know. Put it in the comments once you listen to the book or read it, and let me know. But yeah, I kind of got tired of it. Like, and you're not reading the book. I was listening to the book, so I couldn't just skip and like you would normally do, and just go to the place. So I had to listen to it, and it was like, man, this is taking me away from my sheer natural enjoyment of the book and the revelation of the book, of needing that deep thinking, right? Okay. So then number 4, automate your life to create greater opportunities for deep work. And I felt like I wanted to separate the automation from the rituals and habits, because automating your life, it also goes hand in hand with what I've been talking about and harping about, especially in business, which is going into automation. And automation basically means having systems, putting systems in place, right? Rituals and habits are like personal things that you can do when you wake up in the morning. You know, you fix your bed, you do this, you do that, and your body or your mind in motion, like, okay, we're starting the day. Like, I don't feel like I've started my day until I fix my bed and I put all my fancy pillows on there, right? When my bed is scattered, I'm like, man, I feel like my day was scattered. It may have been productive, but it still felt scattered. But when I fix my bed, so that's a ritual, right? Whereas automation is more like automating your life, like automate your business, put systems in place so that you can, have your support group, so that you can pass your kids off, right? So you can have a weekend away, or at least down the street at the hotel, where people aren't calling your name, and you can think through the things that are before you. You can process through the things that are around you. You can plan your life out so that every day you wake up, you're putting every day to the max. It's yielding something. It's doing something for you, right? So, I wanted to put both of those, and greater opportunities for deep work, which is uninterrupted thinking. I thought it was great. Then last but not least, multitasking is a myth. Listen, I know a lot of people are going to be upset about that. You might be upset about that and write a comment about it. That's cool. No problem. But the truth is, multitasking is a myth, because there's, number one, it goes against how the brain is really set and wired to process, to absorb, and to be the best it can actually be as a muscle, right? And so multitasking really steals from you, where, let's say it takes you 30 minutes to do, I got this done in 30 minutes. Well, maybe you actually could have gotten this done in 5 minutes, this done in 7 minutes, this done in 5 minutes, if you would have just been straightforward in your thought and your focus. You could have gotten it done in a shorter period of time, which means you would have saved time, because that's 17 minutes versus 30, right? So the multitasking, even if you're talking about honing a gift or a craft or something, the multitasking steals time from you, because you're trying. It's like, okay, like for example, in business, so people are like, okay, I don't know which one to focus on. Should I focus on Instagram? Should I focus on Facebook? Should I focus on YouTube? Which platform should I grow? Okay, I'm just gonna grow all of them at the same time. Why would you do that? You're overloading yourself. Focus on one platform at a time. They're not going anywhere, right? So focus on one thing at a time and hone it, grow it. Then take what you've learned from that first platform, take it to the other one. Then you're going to have to modify a little bit, because there's different strategies for different platforms, right? So that's just an example of how multitasking seems like it's really good, but it's not that good, is his point in the book. And clearly I like that philosophy. So and like I said, I wrote a lot of different nuggets from the book. So oh gosh, this was a good one. I didn't put it on there because I think when you read the book, it makes more sense. Which was designating seasons of your life to certain types of work. So if you pay attention to yourself and your life, you know which seasons of your life you get certain things done better. So, for example, let's say, for example, you know when the spring and the summer are up, that's when you're really good at working out. But when it's colder, you don't even work out at home, right? So, certain seasons of the year are good for you as far as like extrinsic motivation and things like that. Like, you just know you work out during the spring and summer months. That's just lit for you. You got it. Go for it. Good. So then in those fall and winter, don't beat your head against the wall. Dedicate that work, since you're going to be inside mostly, to, of course, do some working out, do some stuff inside, or do some stuff at the gym, but use that time to write books. Use that time to organize your life, to simplify, to study missions, to perfect a craft or something like that. Like the way he breaks it down is like, that makes so much sense, that like there's certain seasons of the year that I can really, really push out churn out a lot of content, just for me as a counselor, as an educator, as an online course creator, versus other seasons of the month, I'm really in mom mode. I'm really in, just nurturing those around me and those who are, I'm working with. So use that to your advantage and stop working against the grain. Stop working against yourself. Work with yourself and how you're wired. I loved that. I thought that was really, really good. If you feel like you can't do like long periods of time, which is going to be really, really hard because you're not used to it. I think the most I've ever gone without picking up my phone, without feeling like, where's my phone? Where's my phone? I'm disconnected. It was like 45 minutes. And I thought that was weird because I grew up in a generation, we didn't have phones. And when we had phones, we were only calling, we were using the numbers to spell out letters. Oh goodness. I don't know if y'all know those times. I don't know. But start somewhere. So start with 30 minutes uninterrupted, 45 minutes uninterrupted, so on and so forth, so that you can build it up and it can become, and even your deep work can become a habit for you. When you don't have those moments of deep work, you're like, I'm just hustling through life. Let me sit down and woo-saw and think. Okay, so that was really good. Of course, ritualize things. Don't be afraid to be unavailable. I think a lot of people are like that, especially in our society and our world, how it's going. Choose if you're going to be able to produce high quality work quickly or low quality slowly. You see? High quality work quickly or low quality slowly. And that really is contingent upon deep work. And you have to, again, it really comes down to willpower. And he talks about that as well. Your willpower is like a muscle that grows weary, but it can be built up. And rituals and habits actually help you to maintain certain levels of willpower and grow and develop your willpower so that you can maximize your deep work. And I'm going to end with that. And I'm just going to say that the rituals and habits are necessary to maintain willpower. I'm going to say that people don't realize that a lot of times, even when it comes to anxiety and panic and fear and a lot of these things that we deal with, you have to have resources, right? And you have to work through those things and find out what the root issue is. But ultimately, you can gain you can overcome, you can conquer some of these things, a lot of these things, honestly. This is coming from, I've been counseling for over 10 years, okay? You can conquer a lot of these things or bring it down to a low minimum just by exercising willpower. You know, a lot of times, especially when it comes to anxiety, we are used to things just going, and we're just like, ah, and so we're literally going along with it versus saying, whoa, stop. You know, and kind of tearing down all the stuff that's coming at us. And that really comes down to willpower. You don't have willpower until you work it. You don't have willpower until you exercise it. And so even with deep work, you don't have it until you really start working it. And then when you work it, it becomes such a requirement in your life because of the opportunity, the freedom, the greatness that it yields in your life. So I'm going to give this book 4 stars. 4 stars. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I'll put the link for Audible. I'll put the link for the book itself in the comment, in the description box. And then in the comments, I'll put my little card, the 5 major keys from the book. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. I've been putting it and implementing it into my own life personally. I didn't realize actually that I did have some personal rituals already, and what I didn't realize what I was doing could be quantified as deep work until I started reading the book. And so now what I'm doing after reading the book is stretching it and making it count all the more. So I hope that was the same thing that you got from it. If you didn't feel like the book was that good, let me know. I'm gonna do some more reviews over books. If you have some suggestions of books to read or some things that you've seen or some books that you really liked, put them in the comments. Let me know. I'm, like I said, I'm a connoisseur of books. I love to read. So let's go. If I'm going to read a book, it's usually going to be in the business, self-development, spiritual, and autobiographies. Let me know what's been a good read for you and what you've been doing. And I will see you on the next go around.